Okay, writers, finish up your thought or your bullet. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Okay, on a side note, as a teacher to parent right now, the reason we decided we chose this lesson was because we thought it didn't require a whole lot of background. And we thought about doing like just a generating ideas lesson, but we really wanted you to have like a specific like strategy. So that's why we chose this particular lesson. And we noticed that some of you kind of had a hard time getting started. That's okay. That's what your kids feel a lot of the time. So, yes.
And at the same time, with your children, we would have already taught them the lessons that would have come before this were strategies for generating an idea. So they would have, as a matter of fact,
right here. This poster right here, if you're still stuck finding an idea right there, go to that poster, read it, and then give it a try. Okay. So while we were walking around, we saw a lot of really good things. We saw people zooming in, not trying to write about too much. You were really very specific with your bullets. They look really good. So now today and every day when you are writing, if it helps you to organize and plan out your writing using a timeline, do it. Okay? So now it's about to start our writing time. So I'm going to send you off to write. And my kids, when I was talking to them about this today, they were like, Mrs. Moreland, what are you going to do if they're talking instead of writing? And they're like, you should take $1 from them because we have like a class currency. I was like, yeah, I should take $1 from them. So if you're choosing to chat, have your ones ready. Okay, so right now you're going to get writing your story. If you finish your timeline, if you feel like you need to do that, get writing if you're ready to do that. So you're the boss of your own writing. You do what you feel you need to do. We're going to come around and we're going to talk to you. And
just a reminder that now each bullet then, like you write that small moment. So, because oftentimes kids feel like they've written their timeline and that is the story. But now you want to take each bullet and expand that and storytell it. So.
Really go back into it, relive the memory, describe it as it's happening. All right, ready?
Off you go, writers.
Okay, writers, I can tell that we're kind of losing our focus. So let's, finish your sentence you're writing. If you're in a conversation you just can't leave, finish it up.
I'm leaving the conversation.
Sarah, thank you. Okay, all right, so usually at the end of a writer's workshop, you know what? I totally forgot to do our mid-workshop teaching point. Okay, I'm going to do our mid-workshop teaching point right now, and then we're going to go straight into the share. So just pretend I did this 10 minutes ago, interrupted you. You use this information in your writing. Because I just totally forgot to do it. My bad. Okay, so I was having an interesting conference. A lot of times our interruption is fueled by what we're seeing the kids do. So I was having a really interesting conversation with Andrada about her story about her son Zeke's birth. And it was actually kind of a very long process over like 4 days. So we talked about doing different entry points to this story. And so this got me thinking about mine too. And I'm not sure that starting it here is like the best way to do it. I think it's just going to be like kind of a little bit too much lead up. I think actually I might want to start my story like headed down this staircase. I can kind of fill in that other information as I go through conversations I have with Jillian that I'm going to write. But I actually might want to just kind of pull all of this and start from feeling down that last staircase, because that's kind of where the really important stuff begins. So that's an option you have with your timeline. You can kind of think about, okay, now I've got this all laid out. Where do I want to start? Where do I want to finish? Like, what is it that makes the most sense for this particular story? Okay, pretend I did this 10 minutes ago. Do you want like 1 minute to look back at your timeline?
Yeah.
No, you don't.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, 1 minute. 1 minute.
And don't forget, if you have any questions, if you'd like to write down the note cards, we'll try to answer them.
And if I can just, you can keep writing, don't look at me. But so when you are like trying to decide like where do I want my story to start and where do I want it to end, a really good question to ask yourself is, what is my story really about? What am I really trying to say here? there's always, and sometimes you don't know until you start actually writing, like what is it you're trying to say, like the joy you saw or you felt when you saw your baby for the first time, and if so, then everything should be angled towards that. So, or if you're writing a story about, can I use your example? If you're writing a story about this long vacation you had and you lost your videos and then you got them back again, if your story is really, what you really want to say to people is like how grateful you were for the kindness of strangers, then all of that background can, like those early dots, can probably be left off, because as Nisi said, you can always reference that like in a flashback, or like, oh, I thought back to the beginning of when I lost them to begin with and how sad I felt. So you can always reference back to that. So kind of ask yourself that question, like, what am I really trying to say in my story? Okay, I'll shut up now.
Those 2 tips for you.
Yeah, 2 for 1.
All right, so this is the end of Writer's Workshop. We're going to do a share. And the share time isn't necessarily just for sharing. Usually we have something we're trying to teach in the writing share. So sometimes there's just a little teaching point. We'll share a couple kids writing. Or sometimes they're working in partners, sharing with each other. So today our focus is complimenting. So you are going to need to share with one other person at your team, but I want to teach you how to do a compliment. This isn't that hard, but at the same time, it's sometimes really hard, okay? It's sometimes hard if you can't get past the fact that your kid misspelled every single word on the page. It's sometimes hard if they use no punctuation, but you have to just sit and you have to listen to what they have to say. And that seems obvious, but we all need that reminder. Even I'm sometimes like just chomping to like get to like what I can teach them so I can move on. But you really need to just wait and listen and just try to really hear what they're saying to you. The second thing is just react as a human. If you thought of something as they were going, tell them that. Doesn't matter what it is. If it's made you feel something, tell them. And then the third thing is give a specific example. So I meant to grab somebody's writing to show this, but here I'll just use something of my own. Okay. Here's my own. I'm going to compliment myself because I'm so amazing. All right. Can I come too? I asked. Me too? Said Cameron. Oh, never mind then. Oh, okay. I'll stay with you. Or sorry, I'll stay. Oh, okay, I'll stay with you. No, I don't want to be on your team. Come on, guys. Just be on a team. Let's get started. Okay, so this obviously has problems. You can't really tell who's speaking, but like I could compliment this. Like I love how you are using dialogue to start your story. We know that like that's like a really common thing that people do is include dialogue in their story. It helps them to like stay in that moment. This is a really terrible example. I'm kind of glad it was terrible because this is difficult to compliment. But that's the one thing you can do. I can tell that that you're having an argument, and this is showing me that that's going to be important later. Like you're in an argument, something bad's going to happen. So anyway, give a specific example. I really like how you're using dialogue. Like right here, can I come too? Me too, Cameron said. That's how really kids talk. They're kind of repetitive in that way. Okay, that was a really poor example. Sorry about that. Okay, and make your paragraph a compliment a paragraph, not a sentence. So try to don't just stop once you feel like you're done. Go back to it and be like, oh, I really love this part. I really love this word you use. It really makes the writing come alive. Just kind of keep going. And sometimes that'll even buy you enough time to think of something real to say. So just try your best to just kind of keep going with that compliment. Don't worry about teaching your kids. That's our job for now. Just listen to them and tell them that they're amazing.
Yeah, listen with your heart is what we call it.
Okay, so now I want you to get a partner at your team, and you're going to read. It does not have to be the whole piece because you've got really kind of long pieces and we don't have a huge amount of time. So group of 3, whatever. Go ahead and read it out loud to the other person so they can kind of hear your voice in it, and then the other person respond back with a compliment. That's all you need to do. Ready? Go.
They have to limit it on this. They filled you up on all this medication.
I don't want to stop you from complimenting, but go ahead and finish up 5, 4.
Oh my gosh.
2, 1, 0. Okay, thank you so much. We very much value your time, and thank you for taking time out of your evening to come see us. We didn't really have time for Q&A, but we do. We're going to hang out for a little while. If you have any questions, you would like to ask us. We also have a little pamphlet for you. And it's just about personal narrative writing. There's kind of a lot of tips in here. This kind of goes through a lot of what we teach in our personal narrative unit. So reading through this might help you to know kind of what to expect from your kids' writing. And again, like what to compliment them on. If you see them doing any of these things, we've talked about it. So go ahead and give them that compliment. Thank you very, very much for coming. Mrs. Gibson, would you like to jump in?
I really just wanted to take a moment to thank Macy and Lynn and Allison and Sarah for taking time out of their very busy day to be here and to support writing and to share this with parents, because this is really going above and beyond what they do during the day. They're here for 8 hours a day, sometimes 9, sometimes 10, and as soon as I ended the staff meeting, they were busy getting this ready for you for tonight, and I know that their passion and love for writing carries over to their children, but it also carries over to the staff. So I feel very fortunate that I have them, and the whole time that they're teaching, all I'm thinking is, please don't let somebody from New York take you guys and hire you, because I will never answer that call. So I just really want to let them know how much I appreciate all that they do every single day when they're here. I also wanted to share a little bit with you that when Macy and Allison and Lynn were talking about our writing stores at Wagner, I don't have the exact figures standing in front of me, but what I can tell you is that we have had this consistent writing program through our schools in K2, K3 for the last 4 years, and the last couple of years, the last 2 years in grades 4 and 5. And our writing scores in the exceeds range on the Ames assessment, so it would be the 5th grade writing scores, the number of kids who exceeds doubled last year. So their hard work. So our scores are creeping up over everyone else's, and I'm starting to get the call, what are you doing? Because that's not what I'm doing, it's what they're doing. So thank you.
Well, thank you. We hope you experienced Writer's Workshop and learn to give a compliment. So we're going to hang out, but feel free to go if you need to go. Thank you.
Thank you.